Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be discussing the 7.1.5 stat changes that's going to be affecting every class in the game. And of course, you know me, guys, I'm going to do a review on my Frost DK, let you guys know how much he's changing, what percentages, what's going on, and just kind of give you guys the sound of mind of what to expect. So anyways, let's jump into this. So you guys can understand what we're going to be kind of comparing. We're going to be comparing live stats to PTR stats. Now right now we're on the PTR, of course, on the 884 Frost Death Knight, the same one we're going to be using. And we're also going to be switching out some gear here and there to see if there's any major stat differences in gains that you get. So anyways, let's jump into these notes because there's way too many numbers to talk about either in a BG or even talking to you like this. So I'm going to pop those up on the screen and show you guys. Here are my comparison notes, guys. You can see right here on the left side of the bracket, there is live and there's PTR. These are the base stats for my Frost DK. You can go ahead and look at those and see the difference. As you can see on the PTR, there is actually a higher cap of raw crit mastery and haste than there is on live, but you'll notice that the percentages are of course lower. So I went ahead and just to the right of that one at the top, I did the raw comparison. That's without adding in the extra crit and stuff that we'll receive on the PTR. Now if we just transferred over live to PTR, we are facing like a 3% crit nerf, 3.8% haste nerf, and about a 2.9% mastery nerf. Now that's a pretty good chunk of DPS. Now when we do add in the extra stats on the PTR, we end up with a 1.16% nerf with crit. We ended up with a 1.3% nerf with haste and a 2.2% nerf with mastery. So the thing I actually kind of found interesting about this is it's actually making our stat priority more important on a Frost DK, because as you can see, mastery got a bit more of a nerf than, of course, crit did, and of course, haste. Now, when it came to the Frost DK stat priority, we stacked up to about 20-23% haste, and then we started stacking as much crit as we could because crit added 1.3 AP compared to mastery versatility, which was about 1 attack power. To both of those. So as you can see, that's actually going to make crit even better since it is a smaller nerf than mastery and of course haste and of course the others. But the reason why you want to cap on your haste, of course, is because you can get a fuller rotation on a Frost DK and keep up your consistent DPS better. And of course, crit comes in afterwards just for, of course, crit damage. Since you crit a lot, since you're hitting a lot, you know, it's just kind of the basic for the Frost DK. Now, the other thing they did say is strength or base stats were going to be stronger for your character. Now, I was kind of a little confused about this because I did look at my strength from live to PTR and there was no difference. Now, the only comparison I could think of is the strength would scale with attack power more, but I couldn't find a way to actually look this up. But one way I did compare it, as you can see just above the bottom down there, I did Breath of Sindragosa on live and I did Breath of Sindragosa on PTR. And what I found out is there was about a 13k nerf on that. Now, my speculation is that 13k nerf is, of course, from the 2.2 mastery nerf that we're receiving. Now, that also makes me kind of wonder if strength is supposed to be more efficient on the PTR, which I don't know if they've actually added that in yet. Of course, Breath of Sindragosa, since it scales off of attack power, will be affected a lot more than the other abilities. And of course, since we're seeing it as a nerf at the moment, I don't believe that they've added in these base ability buffs yet, but if they did, then I'm kind of confused about that because I really didn't expect to see it that way. All right, so the last thing I didn't notice about these stats, comparing live to PTR, is I wanted to take off a crit trinket and see if there was any stat gain difference, if there was any difference in how much percentage you gained of crit per so much crit. And what I found out on live, when you took off about 1043 crit, you were losing about 2.98% crit. Now when it came to PTR, when I took off 1043 crit, it ended up being only about 2.16% crit. So yes, they did make off stats mean less in terms of being overall damage. And of course, they're going to buff up, of course, base stats and strength to make just the all-around base strength of your character better, and of course to make strength worth more if it's on trinkets. But overall, at the moment, this is definitely looking like a nerf. But understand that every class in the game is going through this. So a lot of classes are also facing this same stat change nerf, or they're facing nerfs when it comes to abilities. But the one thing that we need to remember as Frost DKs is we are also receiving that giant breath buff, that giant huge Cindric breath buff going from like 170% up to like 285% that we're really stoked about, plus that Remorseless Winter buff. And what's happening here is I believe this is actually going to be a pretty solid nerf to our consistency spec, because our consistency spec is getting no love when it comes to 7.1.5, as it seems, because we're also getting that slight nerf to Howling Blast AP, as we've seen. So it's really starting to look more and more like it's going to be breath as we're nearing 7.1.5. So we're kind of closing that gap, because we're going to have to see. We're really going to have to see, because this does reduce the consistency DPS spec down a bit. And as we saw from me playing the breath spec in a couple past videos on 7.1.5, I was still able to do some insane damage on there. Stuff that was even bigger than what we were doing on live. So we're really gonna have to take a just watch this and see where they go, see if they nerf us up, see if they nerf us down. And overall, you won't notice a huge difference in damage with all this. Like, there are some nerfs in there, but it's not going to be like you're going to go from 300k to 200k. It's going to be more like you're going to go from 300k to maybe 280, 260k iffy. Yeah, that's like lowest worst case scenario. So we really don't have to worry about that too much. But it is a definite nerf when it comes to the stats. And I really wanted to let you guys know that there still is a stat priority, and it looks like the stat priority is a slightly more important now than it was before, which wasn't something I expected to see when I did this math. I felt like there was a reason I needed to, but I didn't know why, and it was definitely in there. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of cleared things up for you and your Frost DK, where we're kind of heading, where we're going, and you should be able to do this comparison on your own character pretty easy. You know, of course, it would change with what gear you have and such. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I want to keep you updated on this information, of course. Leave a like, and until next time, this is your boy Hazzed.